Hey everyone, this is the last video, finally, of section 4.2, and it's on prime numbers and how kids have a process for identifying prime numbers. So first of all, let's talk about what a prime number is. So a prime number is a natural number. Remember, natural numbers are counting numbers. A prime number is prime. It's a natural number that has exactly two factors. One in itself. All right, so let's talk about a factor. So factors are numbers that multiply together to give you a number. So if I said, for example, can you guys give me all of the factors of 15? Right? You would say, okay, well, 1 and 5, 3 and 15, right? Those are all the numbers, right? I can multiply 5 times 3 is 15, 1 times 15 is 15. Or if I said, can you guys list me all of the factors of 24? You could say 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. So these are numbers that have obviously more than two factors. A number is prime if its only factors are 1 in itself. So if I said, can you guys give me all the numbers that multiply together to give me 11, you would just say 1 and 11. There are only two numbers that when I multiply them together, they give me 11, and that's 1 in itself. Okay? So a composite number is a number that has more than two factors, right? So prime has exactly two factors, 1 in itself, and composite has more than two. So this is a lesson actually in 4th grade. There's more to it, so if you guys just put in Engage New York, I'll tell you what this is you put in Engage New York, and then put in sieve of Aristophanes, something like that. I think that's pretty close. And this is what will come up. It's a 4th grade lesson, and this chart is what's called the sieve of Aristophanes. Okay? And it's a way for you to recognize prime numbers. I'm not sure I spelled Aristophanes correct, but it's got to be pretty close. All right, so this is a 4th grade lesson, and so what I did is I made a sieve. Well, I copied out of our book 1 through 150, and so the 4th graders need to be able to identify prime numbers 1 through 100. And so I thought we could just go through the directions that a 4th grader does in order to identify prime numbers. Okay? So it says, shade the number 1 red. All right, well, I have a red marker, but I don't want to cover up completely the number 1. Oh, no, you'll be able to see it. Okay, so shade the number 1 red. If you don't have a marker, it doesn't matter. You can just use pencil or whatever you got. All right. So shade the number 1 red. Okay, then circle the first unmarked number. So the first unmarked number is 2. Okay, and then it says cross off every multiple of that number except the one you circled. Okay, so I'm going to come and do it on our big paper. So I'm going to shade in the number 1. We'll talk about why we shade that in red in a minute. And then we're going to circle 2. And then it says cross off every multiple. So multiples of 2 would be 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. So basically, any number that's even is a multiple of 2. So I'm going to shade in. I'm going to get rid of these numbers. None of these numbers can be prime because they all have a factor of 2. If you're even, then you automatically have a factor of 2. So we're going to get rid of those. And we're going to get rid of, so we're getting rid of tons of numbers. If you are an even number, you cannot be prime other than 2, because all of these numbers have 1 and itself as factors and the number 2. So there you go. It has more than 2 factors. So we got to get rid of all these. So all these are composite. So man, we're getting rid of a chunk of them. Okay. You don't have to be this precise, but I have the marker, so I'm going to do it. This will give you some time. All right. So after you shade these in, we'll look at the directions that the 4th graders use. And there's a big long script. So if you do look this up online, check out the script. There's a nice long script that the teachers have. So it's a nice lesson that's outlined. Okay. All right, so none of those could be prime. It's weird. On my paper, it's like completely covered, but on there, it shows, which is weird. Okay, so the next question. Repeat steps A and B until every number is either circled or crossed off. All right. So the next step says, circle the first unmarked number. So the first unmarked number now would be 3. And we're going to cross off all multiples of 3. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. These are all multiples of 3. So you just go 1, 2, 3, color, 1, 2, 3, color, right? Because it's every third. 1, 39, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now what I want you to notice something. It's going to save yourself some time in a minute. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If you'll notice, you're going every third up and down. Do you see? Color, skip, skip, color. Color, skip, skip, color. So you can also do it this way. So now that you see that pattern, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, you can just go up and down instead of across if you want to save yourself some time, right? Color, skip, skip, color, skip, skip, color, skip, skip, color. Do you see what I'm saying? If you want to save yourself some grief, you could do it that way. I think that's what I'll do from now on. So 1, 2, let's see, we colored this. 1, 2, color. 1, 2, color. And now I'm just going to start going every third, right? Color, skip, skip, color. Skip, skip, color. Skip, skip, color. And like if you look at this, you were like 135, oh, the sum of the digits is 9, so I know that's divisible by 3, so 3 is a factor, right? So you can always check these. Color, skip, skip, color. Skip, skip, color. Skip, skip, color. Right? Color, skip, skip, color. So take your time. Skip, skip, color. Okay. Skip, skip, color. Skip, skip, color. Skip, skip, color. Skip, skip, color. 1, 1, 1 is divided by 3, divisible by 3, right? Skip, skip, color. Okay. And then we'll repeat. So, circle the first unmarked number, and then shade in all multiples. Now, the way the chart's set up, remember, if it's a multiple of 5, if it ends with a 5 or a 0, so we can just get rid of all these. These all end with a 5, so these have a factor of 5, so they can't be prime. Okay. So look about how many we've eliminated. We've eliminated a ton. Okay. Now I'm going to start repeating myself. So I'm going to circle 7. All right. So where do I need to start looking at the chart for the first number that's divisible by 7? All right, now think about this. I've crossed off all the multiples of 2, all the multiples of 3, all the multiples of 4, all the multiples of 5, all the multiples of 6, right? I've already crossed off all the multiples of 6, technically, because I crossed off all the multiples of 2 and 3. So that means I've crossed off 7 times 1, I've crossed off 7 times 2, I've crossed off 7 times 3, I've crossed off 7 times 4, I've crossed off 7 times 5, I've crossed off 7 times 6, because I've crossed off all the multiples of 6. So the first one I haven't crossed off yet is 7 times 7. So I'm going to find 49. All right. I've crossed off 7 times 8 because I've crossed off all the multiples of 2, and 2 is a multiple of 8. I've crossed off 7 times 9. Can you tell me why? I wish we were together, because I crossed off all the multiples of 3, and 9 is a multiple of 3. 7 times 9, I've crossed off 7 times 10, because that's even. I've crossed off, but I have not crossed off 7 times 11, so let's find that. Okay, 77. I've crossed off 7 times 12, because I crossed off all the evens. 7 times 13, I don't think we've crossed that one off yet. Let's see what that would be. So 7 times 13 is 91. I haven't crossed that one off yet. So let's cross off 91. That's a multiple of 7. That was 7 times 13. I've crossed off 7 times 14 because I've crossed off all the evens. I've crossed off 7 times 15 because I've crossed off all the multiples of 5. 15, 16 I've crossed off because I crossed off all the evens. So 7 times 17 I haven't done yet. So I need to cross off 119. That's 7 times 17. 7 times 18 I've crossed off because I crossed off all the evens. 7 times 19, I don't think I've done that one yet. That's 133. So let's cross that off. 7 times 20 I've crossed off because that's an even. 7 times 21, 21's a multiple of 3, so I've crossed off all the multiples of 3. 7 times 22, that's even. 7 times 23, I don't know if I've done that one yet. Oh, I'm off the chart. So I don't have to worry about it. I'm off the chart. So now I've crossed off all the multiples of 7 on the chart. All right, so now I circle 11. Okay, so where do I have to start on the chart? Well, look, I've crossed off 11 times 2. I've crossed off 11 times 3, right, when I crossed off the multiples of 3. I crossed off 11 times 4 because I crossed off all the multiples of 2, and 4 is a multiple of 2. I crossed off all the multiples of 5, so I've crossed off 11 times 5. I've crossed off 11 times 6 because I crossed off all the evens. I've crossed off 11 times 7 because we just did that. I've crossed off multiples of 8, multiples of 9, and multiples of 10. So the first thing I need to look at is 11 times 11. I've crossed off all multiples of every number up into 11. So the first number I have to look at is 121. That's the first multiple of 11 I haven't crossed off yet. So let's cross that off, because that can't be prime, because 11 times 11 is 121, so it has a factor of 1 itself and 11. I've crossed off 11 times 12 because I've crossed all evens, but I haven't crossed off 11 times 13 yet. That's 143, so that can't be prime because it has a factor of 11 and 13. I've crossed off 11 times 14 because I crossed off the evens. I've crossed off 11 times 15 because I crossed off all the multiples of 5. I've crossed off 11 times 16 because I crossed off all the evens. I don't think I've crossed off 11 times 17 yet, but I'm off the chart. So I'm done. I've crossed off all the multiples of 11 that are on this chart. So it says circle the next number. All right. I'm hoping you know where to start, but I'm going to repeat it one more time. I need to cross off all the multiples of 13, but I've crossed off 13 times 2. I've crossed off 13 times 3. I've crossed off 13 times 4, right? These are multiples of 13, so these can't be prime. I've crossed off 13 times 5, 13 times 6. I've crossed off 13 times 7 because I already crossed off all the multiples of 7, right? Keep going. I crossed off 13 times 11. I've crossed off 13 times 12. So now the first number, the first multiple that I haven't crossed off yet is 13 times 13. But if you put in 13 times 13, you're already off the chart. So you could continue with this fashion for all of these numbers, right? If I say, okay, I would start at 17 times 17, but it's off the chart. So all of the numbers that you have left on this chart are prime. So we just very quickly identified all of the prime numbers 1 through 50 on this chart. So let me ask you a question. Why didn't we circle the 1? We said, oh, we just colored it in orange, but we didn't circle it. So what are the factors of 1? What are the factors of 1? So what are the natural numbers, not fractions or anything, just nice counting numbers that when you multiply them together get you 1? The only ones that you can think of are 1 times 1, but they're the same number. So 1 has only one factor. So 1 is not prime because prime numbers have to have exactly 2 factors. And 1 has only one factor. So 1 is not prime. You might have thought it was prime, but it's not. It's neither prime nor composite. It's just in a class all by itself. Okay? So let's practice a question. All right? Let's make up something like what would be on the final or your wow, where you have to identify the primes. And you're just going to use this concept. So this chart extended to 150. I'm going to extend it. Ooh, that is very orange. I'm going to extend it. It's not as this orange in real life. I'm just going to say, let's pretend the chart went up to 419. And I want you to find out the prime numbers. Well, we would have circled 2, right? And then we would have crossed off all of the evens. So we're just going to pretend that chart is extended. Okay? We're going to cross off all of the evens. These cannot be prime. And then, here, I'll do it a little darker. So none of these can be prime. And then we circled the 3, and we said we need to cross off all multiples of 3. So how can we tell if 3 is a factor of a number? Well, you just add up the sum of the digits. So will 3 go into that number? No, because the sum of its digits is 5. Will 3 go into that number? No, the sum of its digits is 7. Will 3 go into that number? Yep. The sum of its digits is 9, and 3 will go into 9. So now we go every third. So 1, 2, cross off, 1, 2, cross off, right? 1, 2, and then 3 you cross off. The sum of its digits is 6, so 3 will go into it. 1, 2, cross off, 1, 2, cross off. The sum of its digits is 12, so 3 will go into that. Okay? 4 was even, then we circled the 5. So now we have to cross off all the multiples of 5. So that's the only one we haven't done yet. And so now you need your calculator. So look, I mean, we had all these, we only have 6 left. So now we're going to start with 7. And we're going to see which one of these is divisible by 7. It's not going to be as hard as you think going through these. I'm looking at 409. Nope. 413. Oh, there's one. Okay, so this cannot be prime because it has a factor of 7 and 59 besides 1 in itself. Okay? And so that was 413, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We can't go any further. So 419 won't, it'd have to be on the 7th one. So that wouldn't be divisible by 7. Okay. So the next number we circled was 11. And then we're going to see if any of these are divisible by 11. Nope. Nope. Ah, there it is. 407 is divisible by 11. So that can't be prime. You can check the other two if you want to. I don't think they are, but okay. So then I'm looking at my chart. After 11, we're going to check 13. Now, technically, the first one we'd have to cross off if it existed on the chart is 169, but we're beyond the chart. So is 401 divisible by 13? Nope. Is 403 divisible by 13? Oh, it is. I haven't done this yet, so this is very exciting. So we're going to cross that off. That is divisible by 13. We're down to 3 left. I'll just show you that the other ones aren't divisible by 13. We're down to 3. Okay. So now we're at 13. So we go to 17. Now normally, if this chart were extended, we would be looking at 289 first. So if we extended the chart into the 400s, you know, we're still on the chart. So 401 divided by 17, nope. 409 divided by 17, nope. 419 divided by 17, nope. Okay. All right, so now the next prime number is 19. So we've crossed off all the multiples of 19 up into 19 times 19. Am I still on the chart? I am, because now my chart goes into the 400s. So I'm going to check if 19 is divisible by those. So 401 is not. 409 is not. And 419 is not. Okay? And then I would look at the chart and I'd say, okay, the next number is 23. Now I've crossed off all multiples of 23 except 23 times 23. So this is where I would start. But look, I'm now off the chart. So anything that I haven't crossed off yet has got to be prime. Your prime, your prime, and your prime. It's almost as if we took this and connected it, right? And we said, okay, we're going to make the chart go to 419 now. So it's the same process. We just made the chart a little bit bigger. So you'll have one of those on your next oh wow, where, you know, I give you 20 digits and you have to tell me which ones are prime. I hope that makes sense. You definitely will have something like that on the final too. It's a very easy process. So I'll probably start off the next video with something like that. Okay, but this is it. We're finally done with 4-2. These were just some fun problems that I've colored over. These were just some fun problems that I found. I think one of them was in the book, and one, I think someone just made that up. If you want to give those a try, I'll give you the answers at the beginning of the next video. But they were just some fun problems that I thought we would get to do together, and I'm so sad that we can't, because these are some really fun little problems to try. But you can go ahead and read them, and then at the next video I'll start off with an example of this, and I will go over those if you want to figure out how to do those. Okay? But give them a try first. They're just fun little activities to do. All right, so make sure you read your oh wow carefully. Contact me through a Zoom room to tell me when you're going to take your exam, and I'll give you some more particulars about that after you let me know when you're going to take it. All right, take care, and let me know if you have any questions, and I will see you this week on a Zoom room. I look forward to seeing you guys. I miss you.